The Wrestling Mayhem Show. Since 2006, the pioneer in pro wrestling podcasting.
This show is brought to you by IndieWrestling.us and IndieWrestling.network for your independent wrestling entertainment. Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you have to do, make it last. Wait for the perfect.
It is the Wrestling Mayhem Show, episode 897. Tuesdays, we've been talking about professionalized wrestling, no matter what state we're in. I am in Ann Arbor, Michigan right now, and we are still doing the show. And I'm on the Zoom. I'm like everybody else that joins me, usually, because the me in the studio is not me. The me in the studio is actually Matt Carlins in the studio. Oh, I think we just Freaky Friday this shit.
It's amazing. It's so easy, Sorg. Anybody could do this.
Anybody can run a podcast. Anybody. I love it. Yes, the friend in the mainstream media, the trasher of pro wrestling media reporters.
No, the ombudsman of pro wrestling media.
Oh, okay. And and we also, because when I'm 200 miles away, they come out of the woodwork to come on the show, apparently. So I do not have a complex about this. Eamon!
I'm back.
He's back.
We
They
kicked you.
know him as the Wrestle Fan.
Yeah,
formerly.
that's from days gone by. It's fine.
Well, I mean, some don't know, and some remember. It's lore, so I just have to make the connection. But you're Eamon on
If
this
you
show
learn
now.
your Mayhem Show history, yes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Know your lore. Yeah.
Know your lore.
But all
also-
those years passed, and now look at the twist of fate, Sorg. Now me and Matt run the studio, apparently.
Also voice of VCW down in West Virginia. Well, actually, it's creeping into Pennsylvania now.
Yeah.
Next month. So good to have you. And actually, we did something in Pennsylvania last week that we actually can't talk about.
Secrets.
Except we keep talking about it. No, and also co-host for Gay and His Enby here on the Sorgatron Media Network. So appreciate you being on the show and keeping Matt company there in the studio.
Glad to be here as always.
Excellent. Well, this is the Wrestling Mayhem Show, and we have so much to talk about. And of course, Mayhem Mania coming up in the show, and I'm sure Matt's got something to say. Matt Carlins has something to say about this press event coming up this week for the WrestleMania press event. Pre-press. What is it called again?
Just a press event.
Pressamania that you can spend $2,500
Oh,
to
if
get
only.
So you too can be a reporter, I guess. We'll get into that here later in the show, and we'll
They're
talk
just giving
about
it to everyone.
NXT.
They won't let
AEW,
anybody in.
WWE. First of all, I think we should talk about the thing that trended for 3 freaking days. Now, I have only watched the first hour of Raw. It's been a very, very busy week for me. I've been on the road. But I did watch Smackdown. I did watch the thing. I saw everybody's reactions. And of course, I'm talking about Tozawa. No, I'm talking about The Rock and Cody Rhodes. And The Rock apparently stealing Cody's smile for WrestleMania. I don't know. So I listen, I'm catching bits and pieces of this through the weekend as we're doing things. Can anybody summarize the situation?
Let me just ask you a simple question, Sorg. And Eamon, if you want to chime in on this, you can too. Does anything about this seem a little fishy to you?
No. It's, if anything about WWE, everything they do is business as usual, exactly as they planned. It was always the intention. Daniel Bryan was always supposed to win at Mania 30. CM Punk, that was the plan from, when I was, because I haven't been watching like regular, I'll duck into shit. I'll watch pay-per-views nowadays and then kind of duck in every once in a while and stuff. But yeah, when I was seeing the stuff trending online and seeing how everything played out in terms of, that was something.
They did him dirty, Eamon.
Well, and it's like I know people who made so many jokes about the whole finish the story thing. And like it seemed even at the press conference at the Rumble, Cody was like super sensitive about it. Like he had that weird moment where he was talking about, I've seen the memes, I've seen the like, all that stuff, and to be like, no, this is of course what they were going to do. Of course they were. Of course they were.
I mean, of course they were going to, but I think the big question that hangs over everything is like, when did everybody know that this is what they were going to do? Because the reports that have been floating around are that like, oh yeah, early January, they had The Rock all lined up and he good to go. And at that point, I'm wondering, then why, pray tell, did dear Cody win the Rumble, sir?
Well, and I mean, you have the scene at the end of the Rumble of Cody being like, I'm challenging you.
Coming for you. Yeah, I know.
People, I mean, I don't even understand the like theory of like, because of Punk's injury, they had to like recontextualize things or whatever. That, like, to me, like when you have The Rock come in for like a big matchup, you had to have prepared like for months and months that this was going to be the case. Like,
I mean, we had that promo that The Rock did weeks ago, right? Even months ago. It was like the end of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where he came in and he talked and he dropped like the should I sit at the head of the table line. So like at that point, like even if Papa H hasn't been told anything, that like, hey, you might not want to have Cody win the Rumble because Dwayne's coming in. At that point, he's got to be kind of like, I got a feeling we better get this ball rolling for Mania for Rock and Roman. I better come up with another plan for Cody.
Yeah.
You're getting on the who knew what when. I want to know where does
that
like,
doesn't every WWE story and reporting at this point come down to who knew what and when. That should be the company's slogan right now, don't you think, Sorg?
I want to know how long tail of a thing this was of The Rock becoming a part of the board of directors.
There's that too,
like that doesn't happen. I don't think that unless you watch Succession, that doesn't happen overnight. Okay, so that is like they didn't just come up with this week, did they? Like was like where, how long, was
there was why. Why did they have Cody win the Rumble if they knew The Rock was coming in? It is just because there's no escape. There's no way out of it that makes Cody look good. There's nothing else he wants.
He gets Roman at Elimination Chamber, and now he's talking to Seth, and Seth's trying to convince him. So, like, or were we still kind of playing the reset game from injuries because Punk's gonna punk?
The only explanation could be if Punk was actually supposed to win the Rumble, and they called an audible when he got injured. That's the only thing that makes any sense to me.
The crazy thing is that if Punk had won the Rumble, it's perfect because then Punk is injured and he's like, I can't wrestle you at Mania, but then
so
The
we
Rock
can throw a
comes
big
out.
asterisk
It's
on
perfect.
that.
And also poetic justice of like also one of like Punk's sticking points when he was last in the company being that The Rock was overtaking him for the Mania rematch with Cena and all that when he had the big.
Maybe
I tell you what, Cody having to like swallow his pride and shake The Rock's hand on Smackdown was good. Punk having to do it while his arm's in a sling might have been even better.
Well, that's the thing. I found it so crazy too. I don't know if you saw Cody's tweet about. I pulled it up. What was it? He had the tweet after last night's Raw. Appreciate the passion. God bless y'all, but trust me, because he's literally like you have people like literally like hijacking. Like you have wrestlers being like, I can't post anything on social media without someone like dragging me. Like, and it's like Kofi Kingston like getting in the crossfire of this for some reason. Like, but like
just for existing on the same plane,
right? But to me, it's like unless they legitimately told him in the ring, like that weird conversation that people were like noting with Rock and Cody, where Cody's face, like, and they were paying like so close attention to it or whatever. Like, unless that was the case, why have such a why plant the seeds if you're Cody of like the disappointment that he's not getting the match, which I feel like they did in that Rock Roman promo on Smackdown. Like, why plant those seeds and not expect this reaction from the audience?
There's just I don't know why they would paint themselves into this kind of a corner, Sorg. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me unless Paul Levesque booked Cody to win the Rumble thinking he was wrestling Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And then sometime between the Rumble and SmackDown on Friday, Dwayne rolled in and was like, you know what? No, I'll take this because we've got this huge cluster junk going on with, Vince, that whole thing that's going on.
I was about to say.
And we've got to play a little 4D chess here, the real 4D chess, which is we got to give the people something else to talk about so they don't keep reciting, this criminal complaint that was filed. So
knock that out of the news cycle.
So The Rock is like, I'll ride in, I'll take this, I'll take the ball, I'll carry the ball, give it to me, I'll get all eyes on me, and we're at least gonna get Vince out of the headlines for a few days. And then once the backlash starts over Cody, because there was no real tactful way to do it, then they're like, well, let's just go with this then. This is even better. Now social media will just eat this up forever. Yeah. And now it's just
Is everybody just mad about the Vince thing and taking it out on The Rock? Is it just like, do we have this angst? Is this like when everybody was mad around COVID and found a lot of other things to just attack? Say, well, this is fucked too. Like, is that maybe this is like just an extended thing? When I saw the stat that the Rock Cody Roman promo video from Friday SmackDown was the most disliked video that they've ever had on YouTube. Yeah. Like, way to hit a new vertical there, I guess.
It all depends on, I think, who the anger is directed at. And I agree with you. Sure. I don't know if I can figure out exactly where it's pointed. I don't even know if it's necessarily The Rock. He's the vehicle at this point, so to speak. But it's in the same way, Batista, if we're gonna make the Daniel Bryan comparison, same way Batista was that vehicle. But if Triple H were to appear on television, would he get, would he face a backlash like The Rock is getting right now?
When backlash isn't for a few months.
No, and that's going to be in France or whatever.
In France, that's Le Backlash.
Le Boo. Le Boo.
Le Boo. Oh, what's French?
No, why am I doing this? This is Italian.
What's kind of funny is this is you're saying they're almost like they're trying to pivot with the Cody thing, but the Cody thing ends up turning the company heel. Right. All right. And Rock, everybody knows The Rock is on the TKO board now because they told everybody. And so now The Rock is the company. And so those two are the heels. And you come off the point where there are already all these questions, real life, serious freaking questions about Vince McMahon and who knew what and when, and executives that go unnamed in this lawsuit. And you start to wonder, are you sure you want the heat on the company right now? Yeah. That doesn't sound like a very good idea.
And it's when you have such a long-standing, they've been building this for basically since Cody's return. They've been, it's been a 2-year sort of saga that they've been doing. And it's they've done this in the past, and I just don't understand why they would risk it when it comes to such a last-minute decision when you're almost at that precipice where we would assume Cody's would have won at Mania. Because I mean, there's all the reports that Roman might be taking time off after his, after the reign is done,
whatever that is.
Right. It's I don't understand the thought process of getting so close to that finish line and then just diverting.
I have a question. I have another angle on this. Thanks to Podner in the chat room for kind of bringing this up. Is this all just residual anger about Black Adam?
Oh my God!
I'm not here to tell you that this isn't very on brand for Dwayne Johnson right now to kind of throw his weight around, but he's kind of bringing the Hollywood playbook to. It feels like he's bringing that Hollywood playbook to professional wrestling. Not that we've never seen anything like this before. This is a tried and true thing. There is nobody There's nobody that can tell him no in that company right now. I mean, he knows all the right people, and he can do whatever he wants. He can tell him he wants to beat Roman and win that title and finish Cody's story for him, and no one's going to tell him no.
Yeah.
Two sad things. Bobby F. J-Town says that makes Shazam Cody in that instance.
Yes.
Tina is saying the irony as I just took a piece that the TKO stock prices have stabilized. Did the stock prices move based on this situation this weekend?
I don't remember. I don't know if it's the Rock I don't know if the Rock situation moved it at all. I mean, definitely they took.
Hold on. I have
dip
the Rock.
with
I
the Vince
actually
stuff.
I just discovered last week that my WWE stock turned into TKO stock on the Robinhood app because I opened it for the first time
As
in
if by
forever.
magic.
And yes, by magic. Ooh, that's down. Oh my God, that is a dip. What the hell? One day. Okay, that's not too crazy. I'm looking at the week. They started. They were up at. Hold on, I don't understand how to read stocks.
Well, while you're sifting through that, I wanted to at least mention very quickly that we were talking about some of the backlash online. Like, it's gotten to the point where you said like a lot of the wrestlers were getting like just taking heavy fire, and The Rock's daughter.
I just saw that today.
Basically shut down her Twitter account because I guess that, these people are crazy, Sorg, on the social media, and it was too much,
Look at that dip. Look at that.
Here's what TKO has been doing.
That's a shirt.
You see that? So there's a big jump. This is just the past week, the past 7 days.
Okay.
So it's going up, and drop. So
well,
I think you can lead up to that peak is probably where The Rock showed up on SmackDown, supposedly.
Right.
So yes.
Yeah, but to your point, Matt, like I don't like when we've had these experiences where you have these like big fan backlashes in terms of like storytelling, and that in at least somewhat recent years, it's like I feel like you have to predict it at a certain point, and I think it's kind of this will probably be the biggest test of the Triple H run and creative, only in the sense that like how do you deal with like a fan pushback? How do you deal with like when everything it's similar? It's a similar place that AEW kind of is right now, where it's like, when everything's running good and everyone's happy and everyone's like, pushing, the product and everyone's excited. But then when you start to sort of get any like pushback in terms of that, how do you handle it?
Yeah.
And
how are you
like,
gonna deal with the adversity?
I don't know if they change path though, because I think also they've got the posters printed, they've got the like.
Oh, it's over. It's over. This thing is happening. They're doing the press event in Vegas on Thursday, unless they've got something really crazy planned. Like they're just gonna announce the match. Now, I don't know. Like maybe Cody comes, flying in like a red, white, and blue parachute and ruins the whole thing, and maybe they pivot to it. But dude, when he was on SmackDown, he said not at WrestleMania. And I cannot delete that from my mind. Maybe if he didn't say that, I would leave the door a crack open that, maybe they will do a 3-way. Maybe Cody will, worm his way in. But there's no elegant way for Cody to back out of this match. And it sucks for him because he's, he's so good. I feel bad for Cody because he's awesome. He's just he's like the ultimate, he's like a throwback Ernest babyface, and it shouldn't work, and it didn't work in AEW at the end, but damn it, it's working in WWE, and everyone's still behind him. And even now, after all of this crap, they don't blame Cody they don't know. The fans are not like, Cody, you idiot. They're like, no, Cody.
Yeah.
They made you not do that. You would never do that, Cody. We know you would never do that. It was the company that did that.
2 items, and then I want to move on here just for discussion. So I'm curious about 2 items here that I've been reading this week about how, Rock has a feed into creative now, and Brian Gerwich is supposedly back as far as his liaison. Makes sense.
Yeah.
If you read his book, you know the deal there. And I think this is another test about now that, again, you do have somebody on the board of directors of TKO, which let's remind people that UFC is the same company now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have this board of directors of TKO that now includes Dwayne Johnson, and I don't know what the rest of the makeup is, to be quite honest. I should probably look that up. But at what point, like, hey, did we just do a storyline on SmackDown that made the stock price drop? Do we remember this being a problem with WWE in general beforehand?
Not
And
that I can think of.
at what point, when you have people on a board of directors that this is not solely a wrestling company and they're doing a bad storyline, getting bad reaction on WWE, and now that affects the stock price that now also affects UFC,
Well,
that feels like a recipe for disaster to me.
Yeah, and when you have other people now on that board who are more,
Yeah.
I feel like not to go too far into like Vince, but like I feel like Vince always had that background like wrestling promoter mentality where it's just like push through it, like in spite of headlines, in spite of media backlash. Yeah, we have our people that we have to answer to, but like we just have to keep moving forward. And I don't think that's a lot. That's a very different mentality than a lot of like the companies at this level, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in not just wrestling, but in terms of just like just about anything. So
Yeah, I feel like I listen to a lot of tech news, and I keep thinking about board of directors and stock prices and stuff and reactions because Google made a $500 million short of their projection, but they were still up $7 billion or something like that, right? Like I think about that and how does that apply to entertainment, and think of look at what's happening with Warner Brothers Discovery. It's a shit show over there, right? Which makes me
but it's
worry
about
for
them,
AEW.
not being able to, meet their
Right.
estimates
So
and stuff like that.
again, like is Triple H insulated from this? Or maybe it is better that Dwayne Johnson is there because he can insulate and be like to the board of directors, no, this is wrestling, this is how it goes, trust us.
Yeah.
We're getting this backlash, don't worry, that's actually a good thing or something like that. Like, is there somewhere there, does everybody on the board of directors that now includes UFC get it? Right? Because this is not a typical entertainment business. It's becoming more and more an entertainment juggernaut and multimedia franchise. Yes, but like your core thing is still wrestling, or
Right.
whatever you want to call it. It's still wrestling, right? And that comes with the same kind of not baggage, but just a different mindset. And I hope everybody's on board that has a say in it.
Yeah, I agree.
I think part of the appeal for bringing The Rock onto the TKO board was that he could be a voice of experience and knowledgeable
with authority, too.
When it comes to knowing about what professional wrestling is all about, and how convenient it was that Vince McMahon was out on the street within days of Dwayne being brought in. And he's like you mentioned Brian Gewirtz. I mean, I just I made a joke a few weeks ago on this very show about how The Rock was going to be running this company before the end of the year, and you know what? I think I'm going to be right.
Yeah.
I'm going to be right.
I think it's by the end of last week. I lost my thought there.
But I think like there is like what Matt's saying, there's so much uncertainty with that. Like what we know to an extent what Triple H's mentality is in terms of producing, like what he likes, what he doesn't like, what piques his interest in many regards. I mean, you had NXT as sort of like that pet project where you saw all of his like basic fantasies that he wanted to like act out, done through that way, and you see it in the call-ups and you see it in some of the pushes like nowadays. I don't know if if Rock's mentality is the same. I don't know if we even have a full grasp of like how Rock views professional wrestling as successful. Like, I don't think that's ever been tested.
I think our only really guiding star for like what does The Rock think as a booker is how he has tried to book himself in Hollywood,
right,
which is going over a lot. So,
well, but that makes sense for what he wants to achieve there. So I want to make a couple more points, and I do want to move on here. Also remember, like, oh, hey, who's The Rock coming as a movie star? Da 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 da. Also, like, The Rock has run his own production company, along with his ex-wife, 4 years, and is, I believe, from my understanding, very hands-on on the going-ons there, right? He's kind. I think you can slate him into a businessman kind of situation, Like, I want to say you do Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, I think he's taken a lot after that. And you want to talk about wrestling, he is not just an actor. Hey, had some success, went on and did this stuff and came back. He is somebody that literally grew up in the business and watched the ups and downs that literally affected his life.
Yeah.
I know this because I watched Young Rock.
Which we know was pinpoint accurate.
Pinpoint
That's
accurate.
right.
Maybe they'll recast the McMahon character. But anyway, so like I think there's more faith. And my other question is, what is his relationship with Paul Levesque?
Yeah.
So are they good? Are they good with things? I'm really like, how do we stand with that? So I'm kind of curious about what happens there. Anyways, well, you know what? I don't know if we'll have a board of directors, but you know what? Maybe even more powerful is having a Patreon, patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show. And we do thank you that does support the show, does support the supports the show.
Words are fun.
I'm having a stroke. But anyways, thank you everybody that does support the show over there. We do give you some extra content. We have a little bit of after show. We try and get the Talking Mayhem Mania up to you guys first. I don't know if they're going to do that this week because I have work in the morning here. But thank you everybody that does support the show here at the Patreon. Thank you everybody at our Patreon level, fan of the show level, Bo Diggity!
Woo!
As well as Team Hammer Fist, the Tupac family, Emily Grayson, and at the Poppy Club level, Dave Propmod, partner, spouse of Roost Joy Affair at roostjoyaffair.com, Rats in a Trench Coat, Tony Kincaid, at the Pete's Club level, Doc Remedy, who, by the way, will be joining us next week for the Mayhem Wed game. The Remedies will be coming and are slated to be taking on the defending champions, Andrew Palace and Katie Arquette.
That's a
First
matchup.
announcement, I think, here for that. The Riz, Lance Fisher, and at the manager level, Bradley and the Mad One. And, of course, part of this are some surprises and first picks and things like that with our Mayhem Mania game, including Patreon and the Bank later in the season. Thank you, everybody. You guys can support the show, too, at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show. For as little as $1, we appreciate all the shekels you can toss our way. Thank you so much for that. So, let's real quick. I want to touch on some AEW NXT stuff for a moment. Well, let's do it. Let's take a break and take AEW. Eamon, the Brian Keith signing, Bounty Hunter Brian Keith, was announced after his match with Eddie Kingston for the Continental Championship, the Triple Crown. I forget what we're calling that these days.
Multiple names. It's fine.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm happy to have it. I just keep forgetting the name of it. I'm still learning it. Trying to figure out why Proving Grounds weren't 10 minutes. But anyways, so apparently we're just adjusted rules. But no, I think this is somebody you're familiar with from your time in Texas, right?
Yeah, I've worked with Brian a good bit when I was down there. I particularly worked with him through Inspire, but I've also seen his work at New Texas Pro and a lot of stuff. And he's been doing it for a good while in Houston, in particular. He is when his like very quick rise. I mean, when he was getting sort of like the ROH bookings and then sort of like moving up in pretty quick succession, like he's been, and he did a little stuff before in PWG and stuff like that. It was just a really great signing to see. I think when I had started in Texas, it was at a time where I think a lot of people were not down on the area, but because there was tons of talent there that were just kind of like undiscovered, and there was not a lot of focus and eyes on it.
I remember when Inspire was starting up, it felt like it was a breath of fresh air for the area for something with a different flavor and doing something different at the time, right?
Yeah, and I think like everyone had that potential. It was just, you had promotions that really didn't have, outreach beyond the state. You had, people that, sort of Texas had sort of an older school mentality in many regards, which is valid, but also, I think having an ability for guys to sort of like, ply their craft in a way where they can break out to other states and stuff like that. So I've been really happy generally just to see that state get recognition over the last, like, I would say like 4 or 5 years, particularly like when, people like Athena and Keith Lee and, Ricky Starks, can get their names out there and sort of like, get more attention quickly. I think there's been more, there seems to have been more eyes generally on the state now than there have been, in a long time. So And Brian was one of those cases where it's like he's been this talented for a long time and just hadn't gotten that break. And so to finally see somebody get that break, it's just really cool to see. And he's a great guy, great worker. Really just fantastic all the way around. And I know a lot of people were excited.
It's actually been funny because I have a lot of conversations with young wrestlers about like, hey, you gotta get out of town and do something different, get bookings other places. If you have to move somewhere and they move someplace that would be advantageous, for their wrestling career potentially. And I'm just like, I think there's a lot of success going through Texas, guys. I mean, between the Ray Rose and the Shane Taylors, and now everybody you just mentioned that's in AEW right now.
Yeah.
I feel like AEW is there every other week at this point.
I see a lot of people like it always seems to be their hotter crowds. Like they have a really good market in Texas.
Like Texas just became Chicago for them all of a sudden. I don't know,
which is good because I think they might need it.
Yeah. They're like, well, I guess we ran out the juice, and well, even Chicago people are annoyed at how much they ran Chicago. They're like, all the Indians are just like, they just dried our town up, guys.
Yeah.
So, anyways, no, that's awesome. And again, it's one of those like, wait, he wasn't already signed. He's been on a lot lately, right?
Right.
So, and again, I know they have varying talent contracts and people coming and going and everything. Can I make a side note there? Something that we saw here in the Pittsburgh area when we were doing a promotion, a little known promotion named Angel Gate, that we were working with, and don't look them up. Queen Aminata was a part of that and has been getting a lot of exposure. I think she's been signed, right? Like that was announced or been and unannounced or something like that.
Did they announce it yet? I don't know if they've announced it yet, but she's been awesome the last few weeks on TV.
There was something about being the first African-born signee for AEW. Okay. I know that was going around, and I didn't see an all elite graphic or anything like that, but I thought that was like from a confirmation, but I could be wrong. But no, good to see that.
But like you said, I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
I mean, yeah, it seems like it could very easily be another Brian Keith situation where he was probably signed for weeks at least, maybe even longer than that. And I would think, I mean, if I were them, I'd lock up Queen Aminata. She's been great.
Listen, I mean, we all love the idea of the game show host Tony Khan coming out just handing out contracts on the spot, like Triple H and Cedric Alexander at the CWC, right? So, anyways, it's amazing. I love to see that, and I'm hoping we see more and more. Obviously, we will see more and more of Brian Keith and do some cool stuff here. And hopefully, he rises in ranks and they see him on pay-per-view and all that kind of stuff. He actually has had a few title shots already. So, the other thing is NXT had a show. And
why'd you laugh?
There's nothing that I laughed. Don't read into it.
I enjoyed it. It was very NXT to me. I did fall asleep during a six mixed person tag or something like that, but I was also very, very tired.
Can I also say I can't remember the name. They're finding some interesting places to do these pseudo takeovers now. These where was it? It was like
Clarksville, Tennessee.
Clarksville,
Tennessee. That big wrestling town.
That's a different place. I don't know much about Clarksville, Tennessee.
I pondered watching the show. I was like, when is Pittsburgh going to get an NXT pay-per-view? Because we're not going to get any WWE pay-per-views anymore because they're all going to other countries.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, at this point.
Maybe NXT is just going to fill that gap as they rebuild, right? And those are the shows we get. And the crowds are hotter because we're not getting Royal Rumbles, in
they're not doing
the
that again.
PPG Paints Arena. That's what it is now.
Yeah.
Everything's name has changed in the last 2 years at Pittsburgh, and I don't even know. Don't get me started on the Science Center.
Touchy.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think that's been interesting, and they're trying to kind of put over. Yeah, we're going back on the road. It's like cool. You have 2 shows in the next 4 months, on the road.
Yeah.
But no, I think it was good. But I think Matt, you have some opinions.
I just, I've been watching NXT for a long time.
Noted.
I've seen some really high highs, and it's look. I understand that this, these are not polished. Many of these wrestlers on these shows are not polished wrestlers, but I'm aghast watching some of the people who were put on basically a takeover, who are maybe less than 20 matches in their life. like you're not ready.
It definitely,
no one's ready.
I said a lot of stuff where it seemed very like sink or swim. Like we're just throwing you out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing it. I actually think we're seeing it across the board, even with like Maxine on Raw. Like even if you know, great character, you know, great that she's gotten over in that regard. But you could definitely see like maybe not the most like TV ready.
No, you're absolutely right. Like when she was called up. And this is quite a tangent, but when Maxine Dupree was called up, she had never wrestled a match ever in her life, and so it's like, on the main roster we're gonna work this out on TV. Not a great idea.
Who's she supposed to be, Lady Frost?
Yeah, seriously, she ain't no Lady Frost.
But you know.
But putting that aside for a little bit, Mason, my son, my charming 13-year-old. 14-year-old son.
I love, by the way, can I put a side note here? If you're not on video, I have to point this out. I love your gesturing towards the monitor I am, because I know where the monitor is, and I don't know if I do this to this extent.
No, you don't. You're not
really,
a mess.
It's really interesting to
but
watch
you
Matt
should,
do it.
Sorg.
But you should. But thank God Eamon's here, so I have a living human person to talk to. Thank God you're here. All right. So, but anyway, Mason, my son, he thinks Carmelo and Trick are the coolest thing ever, and he was not happy to see them break up. But you know what? He has chosen his side, and he is Team Trick. So
yeah, that has to be. That being around, sort of like he had like one of those like big crushing moments, and I got to imagine.
I wouldn't call it a crushing moment. He was just like, "Oh man, they broke up. Oh well." Team Trick. You know? Whoop, he's walking around. Whoop that Trick. Whoop that Trick. And I'm like, honey, we better check the Urban Dictionary on that one. Just
no.
You're gonna get,
it's
you're
okay.
Gonna get a note from
We
school.
checked. It's all right.
It's not the worst.
All right,
It's
good,
not
good,
the worst. But what the hell was I even talking about? I don't know. NXT had a shortage. I'm looking at you again. NXT has had this shortage of heels. They don't have enough.
When you
good
look at him, it looks like you're looking at me on the Zoom. So
they don't have enough good heels right now. So it was to their benefit that somebody had to turn. And sure, make it Carmelo. That sounds good to me. It's either him or apparently Dijak, Bad Cop, was coming after it.
I saw the thing with the
tonight
duct tape. Like, what was that about?
Well,
and wasn't that
after all of this nonsense with Joe Gacy, he's just back to being CZW Joe Gacy again.
Okay.
And now he's like, and he had this absurd like plunder match with Dijak, and he wrapped duct tape around his head.
And wasn't there like
blinded him.
Legos or something?
There
was
were
like
Matchbox cars.
Oh, Matchbox cars. Okay.
Yeah.
and toy soldiers, and so shout outs to Drake Braddock and David Lawless, which was the first toy soldier table spot I think I'd ever seen before I started working with Rise back in the day.
The thing
I saw that and I was like, ooh, I think Rise might be fun.
The things in just WWE in general that Triple H and Shawn Michaels are just like widely, do the the spot that you would see like the whole Lego deathmatch stuff from like ages and ages ago, which were so like
that. Those are the ideas that come up every weekend when we're doing these shows.
Yeah,
right? I mean, Eamon, you're in the production chat for BCW. you this is familiar territory. They just have somebody there like Shawn Michaels that won't say no.
Right.
Like, yeah, let's fucking try it. Like, and that's the best. Like, and which is exactly what you hear from the guys running the promotion. Yeah, let's see if that works. Yeah, sounds like a great idea. Could be fun. Let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically that's NXT to a T though, isn't it? It's just like, go out there, try it. I don't care. Oh, you've had 10 matches? Go ahead, try this PWG spot. Let's see if you two can do it. No,
you landed on your head?
Oh, you landed on your head? Oh, well, oh, you blew. I don't want to make fun of the girls who blow out their ACLs in NXT, but it happens too often. I'm concerned. Anyway, I don't know what to say too much more about the NXT other than I like Trick, but he's not done cooking yet, but I think he's got a really high ceiling, and I'm definitely on Team Trick. Ilya Dragunov should have been on the main roster like 3 or 4 years ago, but that's all right because he rules.
It's weird. It's interesting also with all the call-ups like that's been happening recently. It's like how you're really in a space now where it's like you have to get that undercard roster in NXT to grow very quickly.
Yeah, they've definitely been calling up a lot of people. I mean, Braun Breaker's basically called up. Stratton's called up. Yeah, and you could see that they need to get hustling on developing kind of like the next wave of talent, because yeah, I mean, like some of these guys, they got to start clicking. And it just got to get these people some reps.
All
man.
right, we got some updates for you. Okay, before we go into our next thing, Matt and Jen from Tino, watch the movie Hustle and Flow, and you'll understand whoop that trick.
Yep.
And actually, that's a rock movie too, right?
No.
No. I'm confused. No, I'm sorry. I'm confusing with Pain and Gain in my head, which I know that doesn't make any sense if you know both those movies. But because sorry about that. Dragunov needs to be the one to take out Gunther. Yeah. Jeez. And apparently you're not him chance tonight. And apparently some censorship issues with the button.
Apparently,
Oh my God.
Apparently, a "Shut Up T-Bar" chant at Dijak tonight.
Oh shit.
The censoring
Wow.
of the crowd chant has been very jarring lately. On
It
It is
has
amazing when they start to do the holy bleep and they actually cut out the audio for every single one of those chants. It's unbelievable.
Oh, it's so annoying. I really hope when they drop the Netflix, they do not bother with that anymore.
I
'cause
know.
Damn it! Like they started doing something on one of the I think on Sunday, and I was just like, oh no! And I was like, oh, we're a PLE, we can say things because they because they for Carmelo didn't they have a fuck you Mello chant or something like that, right? But it felt like they were blending.
Yeah, there
in
was
with,
there were two chants at Mello at the end, and people were like, "Did they pipe in a?"
I felt like the
did,
second one
did
was
they
piped
pipe in a boo Mello chant when the crowd
Like, it
chanted
didn't-
something even worse?
yeah, instead of cutting it, they're like, you know. Anyways,
Vacuum cleaners running in the background.
well, we're not going to cut. You know where you want to see stuff uncut of the indie professional league side. Even I don't know. Did I even mute that one from a couple years ago for Juneteenth? I don't remember. I don't know. Find out over at indiewrestling.us, indiewrestling.network. A lot of great stuff. You go to our YouTube, of course, 880 Wrestling, a whole bunch of other free stuff you can go through and catch up on things in the Pittsburgh, West Virginia, Midwesty areas, I guess. So go check that out. We have, of course, we have a live 880 happening every Thursday. We were actually filming this weekend for an 880 No Ring show at a skate park Friday, and then heading up to Erie for Revenge Pro, which is going to feature John McChesney, a friend of the show, against let's just say future friend of the show, potentially NWA heavyweight champion EC3 will be a part of that. So get your tickets if you didn't make it to the Erie area. It's going to be one not to miss. Those shows are great. I think over 400 tickets have already been sold for that event. And they got a lot of space now. They're not in that hotel anymore. But anyways, but that will, of course, be up on VOD here in the next week. The 880 show, of course, will be on all the platforms that we can stream from for you to see for free after editing. So check out all that stuff. Keep updated on everything. We just had Top Rope Tabletop this last Friday with our friends over there. Keith Hott leading the show, Mikey Montgomery, Tatiana, Tyler Klein, and everybody else. So please go check out all that stuff. IndieWrestling.us, a lot of free stuff, a lot of great stuff. If you want the live free RWA, 2PW, VCW stuff, of course, go sign up for the network or membership over on YouTube. Thank you, everybody that says support IndieWrestling.us.
I would just like to echo your sentiment and say, EC3, please be our friend.
I guess I can say this. I did ask if he could be on my podcast. I was like, yeah, sure, bro. And I just never lined him up because I was like, I don't know if he'll remember. He said
Maybe you
yes.
should sweeten the deal. Ask him if he wants to play Mayhem Mania.
Oh.
Maybe after the third show I work with him, I'll actually ask him to be on. So you know it's scheduled. Yeah. Hey, champion of the NWA, would you like to go book WrestleMania with us? Like, that seems like a very
Would
weird
I?
request. I don't know.
Make it right, EC3.
I should ask Sando should be on the show. He'd be a fun one too.
Yeah, for sure.
So
You can tell Sando we tried to put that match together with him and The Miz in our very first year of
oh
Mayhem
my
Mania.
God.
And it turns
know
out
what?
we were the only ones who put it together.
I'd feel less weird asking Sandow to be on Mayhem Mania. I'll say that. It's just he's not holding an NWA championship, so God, somebody's gonna send this to him. Anyway, so we're having fun at Exodus Pro. Let's just put it that way, and I will just hey, you have a reason to download the CW app for the first time in like 10 years.
What was the time before
that's a
then?
blast. What's that?
What was the time before then?
Oh, when they did the Arrowverse spin-off
Oh,
cartoons,
okay.
I can't remember oh God, I can't remember the names of them, but like Vixen was one of them,
Sure.
and it was like the other guy that popped up in the show from the alternate when they started doing the multiverse stuff. Anyways, Matt,
Yes.
you've
mean,
had some
yes.
opinions in the last couple of weeks
Oh,
about
jeez.
press conferences.
Everybody wants to talk about this press event
And
again
then-
in
and there's a press event
Vegas.
coming up, and
Matt,
I
you gotta-
understand that
You got a valid supporter here as well. I can imagine.
we're gonna have a press event in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena for an event that's happening in Philadelphia in a couple months.
That's right. Does that make sense? Doesn't it?
Right.
Everybody
In
wants.
which the press is obviously invited, but so are you. For $500, you can be at a thing that will also have an appearance by Cody Rhodes and Rhea Ripley, among others. And then, or for $2,500, you too can get a photo op with Triple H and whisper in his ear, "When did you know about The Rock at WrestleMania?"
What did you know and when did you know it?
Have you read the lawsuit yet?
But either way, this is another fantastic opportunity. And guys, the comments are rolling in from Matt's rants last week.
They are
I
not.
literally
No one
opened
cares.
YouTube,
What?
and I love this. I love this response to one of the clips from last week of us talking about Triple H coming out and you should be ready. He doesn't have to talk to you at all. Still better than Tony Khan from Dim Store, or Dime Store Trophy on YouTube. So don't
Great
say I'm not
name.
interactive.
That and Dime Store Trophy is gonna be at the WrestleMania press conference for $500.
Forgive me, I accidentally called Slice on Broadway just now.
Oh no!
That adds for later.
Tell them their pizza was delicious.
Wonderful.
I like
Wonderful.
the chicken bacon. What is it? Chicken bacon ranch dance.
Yes,
Fantastic.
Thankfully, I
Fantastic
think
stuff.
they're closed. Anyways, Matt.
Everybody wants to talk about this big press event happening in Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah.
What? I mean, do you have any messages for those going? What would you be doing if you were going there?
Well, I got a message for one group of people who are going. First of all, why are you paying $2,500 to go to this? Now, for the other group of people who are going to this thing, now perhaps we haven't spoken.
Whisper in Paul's ear.
Did you read the loss? Perhaps we haven't stressed this enough, but there is a huge, grotesque, depraved civil lawsuit that is hanging over the head of Vince McMahon. Now, sure, they ran him out of WWE, and he's out on the street again with his big pile of money. But I'm sure he's very sorry. So anyway, the point of that whole bit of sarcasm was that we're not done yet. There are various unnamed corporate officers and executives in this civil lawsuit. There is a federal investigation, which this past week we reportedly is directly related to the civil lawsuit. So yes, federal sex trafficking, federal grand jury, federal
keywords there.
Gonna get you one way or another. That's how these things go. They happen in secret, so people don't get to really know what's going on. But trust me, something's coming. And who else is going down? I don't know. Sorg, Eamon, Brock Lesnar has been scrubbed from literally everything. I know we don't like to say this name very often, but he is darn near getting himself Benoit. He is gone from the video game. He is off these posters. He's off this damn mobile game. He's gone. They're like, we want nothing to do with this guy. So I would think that anybody else who got, wrapped up into this, lawsuit, they don't want anything to do with them either. And it's just a matter of time before those, individuals who had knowledge of things that were happening, get dragged out into the light and are shown the door.
Yeah. I just can't wait for the press conference where it's like, yes, Wall Street Journal, we'll get to you in a second. Can I get a question from the guy in the Jey Uso Yeet t-shirt that paid $2,500 to be here? So he can ask the same 5 questions about, like, how is WrestleMania going to be big this year?
Yeah.
What do you have planned? Like,
I mean, we gotta look. There's going to be some riffraff at this press event. There is absolutely no doubt. But there's also going to be some real wrestling journalists in attendance. Real reporters are going to be at this
They
event.
exist.
They exist. There will probably be people who are outside of the pro wrestling journalism reporting bubble who are going to be at this event because, as WWE brilliantly decided to do, they're holding this event in Las Vegas 3 days before the Super Bowl. Everybody's there.
Yeah.
All you have to do is pry them away from the football game nonsense and get them to your event. But do you really want them there? Because, some of these people don't really play around. So hopefully we get a lot of really good direct questions about, what the hell was going on, who knew what and when. I'd like to know, what The Rock might have known before he joined the board. Rock, were you aware of this, civil lawsuit before you agreed to join the TKO board? That's a good question.
Yeah, probably.
There's still plenty of stuff to ask Paul. And
maybe he's read the lawsuit by now.
we can only hope. And you know what? Who knows
Hey,
who
Paul,
else?
do you read?
How fast do you read?
Do you read within a week? Yeah. There's still a lot of questions that need to be asked, and yes, I am concerned that it's like that Super Bowl media day. It doesn't always come off very serious now. Fortunately with that, it's kind of a joke anyways, and it's only once a year. But with these things, another very rare opportunity to get a lot of important people on the record. Just ask the questions. And don't give me any excuses about what are they going to say or what if they just say they don't have an answer. Every answer and even non-answers are answers.
Yeah.
Just keep asking the questions. We had Paul Levesque on the ropes last time, and you let him off the hook. So not this time. Keep pressing, keep asking, because we've got to get to the bottom of this. There are big problems in this company, and it did not end just because Vince McMahon walked out the door. There's a lot more that needs to be cleaned up. There's a lot more that needs to be uncovered, and a lot more has got to come to light, and we are going to get to the bottom of it.
Excuse me, Mr. Levesque, I have a question from Wrestling Mayhem show, Sorgatron. Has anybody informed The Undertaker that he is now once again undefeated at WrestleMania?
Does that get posthumously? Not posthumous. No, he didn't die. He died in the minds of WWE fans.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Tina, for that toss up, though. I'm here so I don't get fined.
Can I?
Very good football reference from Tina.
I would say that.
Can I add on to that? I fully am with you in terms of yes, and there again, there are going to be people that are going to press questions, and so it's like I feel like that's it's got to be in the forefront. Hopefully, I will say with as sprawling as the press conference is, I also hope that they don't direct my worry was that they're going to direct some of these questions to Bianca and Rhea, because those are the two I believe that are advertised for. Two women I believe that are advertised for it. I think I remember being weirded out in the early goings that the only people that they had quotes of before the Rumble press conference were Natalya and Nia Jax, as if they had any answer in terms of that.
Yeah.
And I think Natalya's was just we just gotta keep pushing, gotta keep going forward.
I mean, we kind of talked about this last week or the week before, but there are polite ways to ask these kinds of questions, and I feel bad that some of these longtime talents get caught in the middle. But I think, and I hate to put it this way, but I'm gonna put it this way. But I think questions about the Vince McMahon lawsuit are very relevant to every female employee and performer in that company. So I got no problem, and it's only fair to ask the fellas too. And if they don't,
I don't know what
I'm not gonna nail them to the wall. I mean, that there are other people who need those kinds of harder questions, but I don't have a problem with people asking them.
Sure, and I think I forgot what outlet it was, but there was something out today about like somebody off a female wrestler off the record, basically saying I can't speak out at this time and all that stuff. So it's that when you have stuff like that, that is going to put the attention on them. And if this ends up getting into a discovery process, there's gonna be I can't imagine it was just two people that knew everything that was happening.
Yeah,
I just can't. That doesn't seem viable to me.
And they may legitimately not want to answer because if it's maybe they know something that's not out yet, and they don't want to be the one that breaks it. So they're playing that game too. So plus they still are employed by the company and can get retribution for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's why I find so fascinating about like the press conference stuff in general, like that they've been doing lately in WWE, but just wrestling in general. It's like you have these people under certain contracts, especially in WWE now. It's like you can't like when WWE is hosting it, and when you have like what can and can't you say if you're a like contracted talent, right?
Yeah.
So it like puts it puts it in a weird position. Like,
well, what would you say about your employer?
well, yeah, exactly.
Right? Like what would you feel comfortable talking to your employer? Whatever that employer may be. Going on Twitter and just railing about how shitty your employment is. I don't know. I know a couple people that do it. But that seems like a thing. Tina's throwing this out here, and this is right, and this is unfortunately the state of the game right now. Just saying having more female journalists in the room would get more of those questions asked more. Just saying, and also maybe more comfortable to be asking the women those questions from another woman. Because I like that
maybe.
Yeah, that changes the tone. And receptiveness of it.
And I think in terms of like I think a valid question in terms of directed towards like female talent is like, what are the safety protocols? Do you feel safe in which to, express concerns? Do you, have there been cases in which things have been breached and how was it handled? I think that's valid. I don't think like, my thing is like when you are questioning like Natalya, it's like Natalya probably more than anything doesn't know like the intricate details of like the dynamic between the office and that. Like they're like if you can direct it in a way of sort of like what the policies are and how they're being implemented and how it directly affects talent, then I think like that makes the most sense in that regard. You know what I mean?
I mean, Shawn Michaels got asked that this happened between our last episode and tonight. Shawn Michaels did a media scrum over the phone.
Oh, I didn't see this
before the NXT show, and he was getting asked all sorts of interesting questions. You can go and search it if you want to, but one of those was about like what have there been changes to the policies, and he gave kind of a vague answer, and then another reporter followed up with another question about the policy, and he just kind of was like, I don't really got, and I'm like,
it's been how many weeks? Like at the very least, it's like know the policy and detail the even if the question's not about that, just be like, this is our policy, this is the chain of command or whatever, this is XYZ. Like you should have that in a cue card ready for you at any point in time. Like that should be your default.
I tell you what, I tell you what, if they get caught on their back foot on Thursday, then I'm really going to start questioning who's doing anything as far as media relations or PR in that company, because they these are not. It's very simple to prep non-answers to these kinds of questions if you want to do it, but they just aren't.
I think I said it at the time of the press conference. Like it's when TKO released the first statement, right? I remember Merlin and me were talking, and he was like, "Oh, that's actually a solid statement." Like in terms of like how everything was framed, and I was like, we watched the press conference after the Rumble, and we were like, just say that statement.
Yeah,
like
don't read the statement. Yeah,
right. It's like that is a fair point where it's like I don't know what the chain of command is in terms of like who. It's like typically in a company that big, it's like here is the talking points. Go.
Oh yeah. You're absolutely correct. I mean, there's supposed to be people who are preparing them with like with talking points and like this is where we're gonna go and this is how you're gonna pivot away. And it's not happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I always thought Triple H was a good promo, but apparently not. He couldn't think on his feet. Sword?
He's always used to going 20 minutes in the promo. That's the problem.
It's always the 20-minute promo.
It's like, no, in and out.
I'm sure we'll have some new developments next week. I'm sure.
I guarantee it.
Although next week is planning to be a later episode since we have a game show scheduled. So other than that,
so nothing needs to happen.
So nothing needs to happen. Maybe those will be the questions. What do you feel about the work policy of the female safety in WWE? Write your answer and guess it. Start some fights.
Oh my God.
What's that?
No, I think
anyways,
we should definitely ask a Vince-related question on the Mayhem Web game.
Geez.
We should definitely do that.
Would you let your spouse alone in a
no, God.
No. All right, let's get out of here before I get in trouble. Guys, we'll be right back. Mayhem Mania. Oh my God, save me.
Distant splash, followed by normal. And himself and getting better with every match. He's solid. Oh, there. Another one. The ropes. Heart attack. Sends some. The ropes in. Here gets him. House of. Oh. No. Off the second rope. And both the DDTs. Big silver screen. Hopping. Where's she going? Nowhere. Rope walking. So flips over. The Saw's holding his thing. Doesn't see the count. Victorious. If you oh my God! Hurt his opponent. And they're standing too. It's oh, and sends him up there. Oh my! Karate! Oh my God! Will be ready. Sends him square for corner. Choke slam. Oh no! Wait! Super kick! No! Wait, she's just. Oh my God! What? No! The queen sometimes chooses a new king. Julia Lynn is the kingmaker. Oh, wait a minute, Rocky Reynolds!
We are back, and I'm trying to do all the things here on a remote thing from Michigan. Matt Carlins is in the studio on the ones and twos. Eamon is on the couch. Gay and His Enby. Go check it out on your favorite podcast provider. But right now, if I can find the buttons on a computer 200 miles away, it is time for... No, that's just the logo. That's just the logo right there. But it is time for that. Mayhem Mania.
Fire the pyro!
For Mayhem Mania.
Are you ready? Think
Dream hard.
Do it!
Think harder.
Yes.
It is time for Mayhem Mania. And then the presider of Mayhem Mania, Matt Carlins.
Oh, jeez. Everything. The intro, the...
Shit, that's getting clipped. All right. All right, everybody. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the internet's favorite fantasy booking game. That's right. It's Mayhem Mania. The object here is to create the best WrestleMania card possible within the confines of our current reality in which we live. That means anybody who's hurt is hurt. Anybody who's, I don't know, like in prison, they're in prison. If WWE has access to a person, you have access to them as well. Basically, you are The Rock with unlimited resources and zero self-control. You can make anything happen for WWE because you're on the TKO board.
So you're Black Adam.
Oh, don't say that.
No?
Why not? Okay. All right. Where were we? Okay. We're going to go through this very carefully and very orderly because we're into our third week, and this is when things start to get confusing. This is when we all start to lose track of what's happening. Okay. We're going to start off first. We're going to talk about our 8-match card that exists right now at the beginning of the round, and then we're going to go through a couple more things, and then we're going to have 5 people come in, and they will make each of them will make a change to the card, or perhaps even an improvement. So let's see what happens. First, let's go through the card as it exists right now. Firstly, we have Finn Balor versus AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, created by Brandon NKC. Next up, we have Gunther versus Kevin Owens, created by Brandon Saint. Something like that.
Long name.
Yeah. Omos versus Oba Femi, created by The Riz. What's next? Oh, yes. Andrade versus Santos Escobar, created by Bobby F. J. Town. Montez Ford and Rhea Ripley, don't ask, versus The Miz and Maurice, created by Emily Fear. Rookie of the Year so far, in my opinion. Meiko Satomura versus Asuka. That was also created by The Riz. This is fun. Pay no attention to the man in the corner. That is Ava versus Pharaoh the Dog.
Oh,
that
my God.
was created last week by Team Hammerfist, but
Okay,
then did
that's-
not survive the round.
So
but
special
Sorg
shouts.
is so dutiful that he created this graphic anyway.
Look at that comment and the Alamo and the small hat and
Small
an eye
can-
patch
and
the
Otis,
suit.
and if you can't really see, but Otis is just off screen eating a steak.
Dude,
Yeah.
talking Mayhem Mania got wild last week.
It was an all-timer. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, created by Casey War. And Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill, also created by Emily Fear. Now, back to me. Is that all? Good.
I'm working on it.
You're doing a great job,
I'm
Sorg.
working on it.
It's pretty smooth. So I mentioned last week, Team Hammerfist created a match that was Ava versus Pharaoh the Dog. Unfortunately, his match was so offensive it did not survive the round. So it was so under the stipulations of the Alex Cars rule, we must bring Team Hammerfist back, and he's going to make the now typically we let someone come back under the Alex Cars rule and they go last in the round. Okay, because we don't want a repeat and them having to come back over and over and over again. But Team Hammerfist is very shy, so he sent in his to move first. So what is going to happen here is that no one can undo Team Hammerfist's move.
Okay.
Now, before we proceed, and Team Hammerfist, he needs a shorter name. It was aware of this too, but not everyone is available to use in Mayhem Mania. Some individuals end up in a place we lovingly refer to as Space Jail. So far, only one person has been locked up in Space Jail. That is Logan Paul.
Not Vince McMahon?
No. Brandon and
No, that's real
KC
jail.
put him there. Eamon, will you please grab the prize wheel from behind you there for a second, buddy?
All right.
Now, we have placed Logan Paul in
Camera.
cell number 1 of Space Jail. So, Eamon will spin the wheel of Space Jail, and we will see if Logan Paul escapes Space Jail if it ends on the number 1. So let's give it a big spin there, Eamon.
Big spin. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
Wheel of Space Jail. Turn, turn, turn. Tell us the lesson that we should learn.
That is number 14.
So Logan Paul remains safely stowed away in Space Jail where he can't hurt anybody.
This is how our legal system should work in real life.
doing great. All right. Okay. Now it is time for the first move of tonight. Tonight we're going to have a move from Eamon and a move from Sorg and a move from Tina and a move from DP. But first, we are going to have a move from Team Hammer Fist. And like I say, he's a little bit shy, but he sent a video recording from his representative. So let's take a look at that right now.
What up, Mayhemers? It's your boy, the WNRN Internet title. The real Internet title. Not the Cardona Mark Bell gimmick. Jesse couldn't make it this week 'cause he's putting his dang kids to bed. So he sent me in his place to make his Mayhem Mania pick. My Mayhem Mania pick is to wipe out Andrade vs Santos Escobar and replace it with... Dramatic pause. Ava Rain vs Pharaoh Rhodes. It's the match we all want to see. It's the match we all need to see. It is the epitome of the Mayhem Mania ethos. Dream hard. Think harder. And I wanna make something perfectly clear. Bobby F.J. Town? If you fuck with this match again, myself and my champion Ron Bass Jr. will break into your mom's basement and drag you personally to space jail. Much love. Internet title. Out.
All right, now I'm not sure if
Bobby F.J. Town.
he's teaming. You know, if there's one thing we love in Mayhem Mania, it's two players going directly after one another.
Unveiled threats, you mean?
Unveiled threats.
About,
All right.
about their basements?
You know what?
Yo, that Johnstown, PA, Florida beef is hard.
It is hard. Don't mess with Bobby. Anyway, if you didn't catch all of that, the little talking title belt said he was killing Bobby F.J. Town's match, and yes, Team Hammerfist is recreating his match from last week. So once again, Ava versus Pharaoh the Dog.
Let's see if it stays this time.
And it will stick this time because I will not allow anybody to tamper with that because that would not be fair under the stipulations
What
of
match
the
was
Alex
deleted
Cars
again?
rule. Oh yes, he deleted Santos Escobar versus Andrade because that was the one that Bobby created.
So
There they
this
are, Ava versus Pharaoh the Dog. Team Hammerfist, you are nothing if not a little bit stubborn. Okay, let's go back to the phone lines and let's bring in DP. DP, do you hear me?
I do. I hear you clear.
Great. I am
Now-
happy to hear from you, and I'm excited.
Clarification.
What? Yep.
Point of clarification.
Point of order.
Point
you
of
mean.
order.
Point of order. I'm sorry. Point of order.
Have you never been in a courtroom?
You know, the one with the big spinning wheel. You know, have you ever
Spinning wheel. Yeah, the spinning wheel. Yeah. So, point of order.
Yes.
Can I take if there's a person on person, one match?
Yeah.
Can I convert that to a tag match by putting the current opponents together and adding a separate team?
Oh.
That's the face of someone who.
I know.
You know what, DP, my old buddy, there's a part of me that wants to say yes, but then I know that the ghost of Mayhem Mania past, who sometimes takes the form of the anonymous Mayhem Mania general manager, would probably come into my dreams tonight and haunt me for the rest of my life. So no, I cannot allow you to do that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm just gonna have to build this match brick by brick.
Okay. No problem. You can refresh my memory. Who is Rhea facing?
Rhea and Montez Ford versus the Miz and Maurice.
Okay.
Thank you, Sorg.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, that's what that looks
Okay.
like.
Hey, Sorg, remember when we had the shot clock
Oh
For
shit!
Mayhem
No,
Mania.
wait, now, wait a minute. I will agree with that. However, and I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I went to the website to try to review the matches before the show.
Oh, we have a WordPress.
I know
problem
we're
trying to
having a
sort out right
WordPress
now.
issue. I haven't been
Okay.
able to get that straight.
Sorry
Okay.
about that.
You know what though? We'll try to to
Okay.
accommodate everybody
So,
on the Wrestling
here-
Mayhem Show Facebook group. In the meantime, you're
Yeah.
you're right. We'll deal with it, Dave.
It's an excuse, but it's an excuse. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that match.
The whole
I'm
thing.
gonna get
Oh
rid-
wow.
Just wipe it out.
Shot clock's up.
Wipe it out. Wipe it out completely. Just
All right.
just whap.
Just too big of a mess.
Wipe it out.
All right.
And I'm going to replace it. And I'm going to pull Sorg by pulling a local person. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to make it Thea Hale
Thea Hale.
versus my sister in running, Nikki Cross.
Okay.
Because we need more caffeine in these matches.
Nikki.
Rhea Ripley, women's world champion, getting the boot for the Nikki Cross. I love this game.
Also,
It's
it
everyone's
is in
favorite.
response to Emily destroying my match, the match I had.
Right. I'll make sure to let Emily know
Mm-hmm.
that you
I
took
destroyed
direct
her
aim.
match.
And once again, we have
Retribution.
yes, hurt feelings. That's great. DP, thank you very much. You're lucky the shot clock didn't get put on you. Sorg, let's do you next. You want to go next, Sorgy?
Oh, I found the clock. There we go. There we go.
There
Here
we
we go.
go. The
Okay,
clock
wait.
is
I'm going
running.
to clock myself. This isn't okay.
No, you don't have to do that. It's okay.
Well, I want to keep it fair. There we go. 90 seconds. All right, what we
90
got
seconds
here?
on the clock.
What did he just change? He changed that tag match?
Yeah, he took out the Rhea and Montez versus Miz and Maurice, and he made Thea Hale versus Nikki Cross.
So he took out the entire tag match.
Correct.
Well, I think I know what I need to do with the Oba Feminists.
Uh-huh.
And if I have my Mayhem Mania movements appropriately noted here, I think I wanted the Oba Feminists to take on the what do we call them? The mommy lovers?
Okay. Wait. So you want to get rid of
Almost.
you want to get rid of Omos, and you want
And
it
I
to
want
be
Oba
Femi.
Is that the name?
Oba Femi.
Against Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
Oh, damn.
Okay. Good. Golly. Okay. Good.
Literally
Playing
both.
the game.
Literally both of my ideas in my head have been stepped over by you two.
Welcome to the game, Eamon.
So I'm thinking on the fly. Okay.
Well, hold on. Not so fast there, my friend.
Oh yeah, I got to get rid of this clock now.
Let's Eamon, I'm gonna let you go last because you were so nice to come in here personally.
Oh, well, that's sweet.
We're gonna go get Tina. Let's find out if we got Tina. Tina?
Yes.
Yes, Tina! What's happening?
Seattle,
No.
you're on the call.
Seattle, you're on the
No.
air.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Not even close. Thank you very much, though. What kind of trouble you want to get started here for this this round?
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, you're gonna have to pull up that whiteboard again. Hold
Yeah,
on.
that's right. There we go. Okay, there we go.
Thank
A
you.
high-tech whiteboard.
I'm sorry, but I didn't finish the pizza, so I'm gonna have to take it home with me. So I could not rip the roof off the pizza box. But
Well, that's your
remember
door
to
prize.
stop by your local Slice on Broadway
That's
to
your
get
door
the
prize for running the show.
Mayhem Mania home game, which is the top of the pizza box that you rip off and you write on it with your magic marker. Everyone loves it. Tina, you can't change Ava versus Pharaoh. I promise Team Hammerfist. So
Oh, damn it. No, I'm joking.
you can go after it next week, or someone will.
That one's in the lockbox.
It's in the lockbox.
Hmm.
What are we
I'm gonna have to
thinking?
I'm gonna have to take out Brandon St. Something match of Gunther and Kevin Owens.
Okay, that's good. Now I don't have to remember his name anymore.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
I'm sure he will.
Let's see here.
How's that shot clock, Sorg?
Oh shit!
Point of order.
Point of order.
Multitasking.
Yes, ma'am.
We've used this wrestler in this game before. Can we use him again?
If we've used them
Before, can we use him
before,
again?
yeah, I think so. Sure.
Okay. All right. Give me the NXT champion Ilya Dragunov
Yes.
against Okada.
Okay. 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 All right. Good old Okada. Freelancer Okada. All right. Awesome.
Hasn't landed yet.
Nope,
See
he
what
has
Tony's
not.
announcement is tomorrow.
Thank you, Tina. It's always a
You're
pleasure.
welcome.
Bye-bye. All right, now let's go over to Eamon. Eamon, you're batting cleanup. Sort
Okay, I think I have my idea settled now. And so if someone, point of order again, if someone has been taken off of the board this round, can they be put back on this round? Okay.
Yep.
Fine. Asuka is getting taken out of the match with Mako.
Okay.
And is getting replaced with Gunther. We're just gonna have an intergender mania this year.
Intergender Mania.
Gunther.
And title online, sure. All that jazz.
All that jazz.
But yeah, you're welcome, everybody. I'm sure you'll enjoy that.
Excellent. All right. Well done, Eamon. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. Thank you to all our players. And now let us quickly recap the matches as we have them right now. And now I have a giant clock on my screen.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see what we got left right now. We still have AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Finn Balor, created by Brandon and KC. We now have Ilya Dragunov versus Kazuchika Okada, created by Tina. Cody and Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, created by Casey War. Rhea Ripley versus Oba Femi, created by Sorgatron. Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair, created by Emily Fear. Thea Hale versus Nikki Cross, created by DP. Gunther versus Mako Satomura, created by Eamon. And finally, Ava versus Pharaoh the Dog, created by Team Hammerfist. I hope you're happy, Team Hammerfist, because I sure am. It's my favorite graphic ever, right, Sorg?
Damn it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
awesome.
something.
Stay
Hey, you know
tuned for Talking Mayhem Mania, and I will explain why I did not let Dave Podner do what he wanted to do. Okay, back to you, Sorg.
I think actually I should throw back to you, sir, because you're the one benefiting from tonight's sponsor.
Indeed. Slice on Broadway, New York style, Yinzer made, good to the last drop. You know, I walked over to the Slice on Broadway. I had the distinct honor of picking up the pizza tonight. Sorry, Eamon.
Ooh, how did that go?
It went great. Friendly
Okay.
staff.
Great staff.
I dropped your name. I said, hey, Sorg sent me. And the next thing I know, I was strolling out of there with a delicious pepperoni pizza and a can of Coke.
Wait, let's disclaimer here. Not everybody can just roll into Slice on Broadway, drop my name, and walk out with a free pizza. Okay? Let's
Disclaimer.
just make sure that is qualified.
You gotta know the right people.
It's a special occasion.
Special
that
occasion.
we did this.
Every Tuesday is a special occasion around here.
That's right.
Not so fast, Brandon. Did I say Yinzer made?
Yes.
I did. Great. Delicious. Good to the last drop. Pizza's so good, you'll want to leave the last slice abandoned in your back room for a few days. That's right. Slice on Broadway. Go get yourself some. Back to you, Sorg.
Oh, man.
I don't
gotta
have
take that grab
any
down.
follow-up questions to that.
No. I know you guys usually have it there on Thursdays when I walk in.
Yes.
so-
In
I don't even have to ask. They just roll into the pay-per-view parties with some Slice on Broadway. So, oh, that's right. Now I know what we're talking about because I found that last week.
Keep up with the lore, Sorg.
Guys, it's time to find out what you learned from wrestling this week. I think, Matt, you had one right off the bat.
Sorg, I learned about a wrestler that I'd never known about before, but I should have known about him. Hechicero is a magician. He's
Plays with
perhaps
fire.
a sorcerer. He conjures fire and witchcraft on the ramp when he makes his entrance. And this dude rules. And he wrestled Bryan Danielson, and it was awesome. and now I know about Hechicero, and I'm better for it. Thank you very much.
I think we're all better for it. Thank you. I love this CMLL situation. Like, along with, like, I love that, like, they're like, we're doing stuff with CMLL. Like, on the same week, TNA is like, we got to deal with AAA. Wait a minute. Did everybody just, like, swap Mexico companies or something? Is this, like, but, I mean, you know, I hope that still means we see Viking go around. I don't know.
I think we'll still see
Yeah,
him.
no, it's been, I've been loving this, and seeing Mystico there. Somebody that wrestled right across the street from where you're sitting right now. No, I'm loving that. I'm this, and this is the thing. And I guess this is going to be what I learned too, because you know, everybody kind of disses on the idea that AEW is like WCW 2.0 or something, but it's kind of all the good points of WCW that I liked, with less of the bad to me, if that makes sense. Because, like,
I gotcha.
yeah, like, it really is. Like, you get, like, oh, hey, here's these guys from you get this sampler platter, and I think it's done a lot better than what WCW did, because you're featuring your New Japan talent, your Mexico talent, you know, and maybe even bringing them in on a regular basis, so they're not in that weird Great Buddha as part of the NWO way.
Yeah.
So, like that seems really cool to me, right? And I'm hoping it continues. And I know it's not like great long storylines or anything like that, but you know what? I just want good wrestling, guys, from week to week. If they're keeping me on with that, like, you know, it's everything I
mean,
love.
Sometimes the match is just the match, and you know, and part of AEW is that
Sometimes
you're you're given a lot more agency over your own direction. You kind of
Yeah.
have to craft your own stories, and you got to, you know, pave your own way. And for a lot of these guys, I mean, it can be very simple. It's just, you know, I'm a wrestler and I'm trying to win and I'm trying to move on up. And if that's the story, then so be it. No, I mean,
you know, that idea that, like, the you know, and this is what I like about New Japan too, is just like, it's a competitive thing. There's an ongoing problem, but not like a problem that deserves a 20-minute promo every week, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a different thing. You say, oh, I want storytelling. I was like, well, pay attention to the freaking match. You know, like
Yeah.
like the details
what
are
it
there, and the announcers are stepping you through it. You know, like, you know, Kevin Kelly has a great voice for this, and, like, you know, very historically, you know, places everything out for you. Well, he's had this going on, and and he's just trying to get over this hump, and, you know, and put some things together and stuff. It feels very analytical to me, and I love that he brings that to Collision, and that does make Collision feel a little bit different than the other shows, having them on there. So, no, I think that stuff has been keyed in very, very well lately, personally. So, and I've really enjoyed where they've been at.
Yeah, and it, you know, Danielson and Hechicero was not a match with no story. I mean, there is an ongoing feud between the Blackpool Combat Club and the stars of CMLL.
Yes,
So,
and it's building,
and it's probably
building.
gonna end up in Arena Mexico before too long. So
Oh my God,
that's something to look
please.
forward to.
Please, oh man, like, you know, I don't know if you've noticed this. I don't know if you subscribe to all the crazy shit I do. I love that I roll into Wrestle Universe and New Japan World, and both of them have AEW matches and TNA matches and stuff. It's wild. Anyways, let's go to the Skypers. Not God, Skype. What year is this?
Oh my
I'm
God.
sorry. Oh my God. Well, I just had an ordeal with Microsoft Teams today, so, and I'm gonna have more tomorrow. Anyways, Tina, what'd you learn from wrestling this week?
I learned it's good to go outside and detach for a little bit. It basically, I and the mute button's a fabulous thing.
Was a tough weekend.
Yeah, and normally I try to be positive, but I could not touch grass. Go outside, get some fresh air. That's it. That's all I ask.
I have an attached thing for that. I'm gonna save for Patreon. I'm gonna
Gonna let it fly.
Well, I'll make a note here. Yeah, no, it's seriously. Hey, wrestling is a great, and it's a lot, and it can be a lot of things to you, but don't make it everything, please. And
No, please don't.
You know, just don't threaten people.
Hey, lesson of the day.
Seems like so little to ask, doesn't it?
Unless it's in the context of Mayhem Mania.
then that is fine.
in a safe place like the Wrestling Mayhem show. Don't be shitty to each other, okay? So,
Unless it's Mayhem Mania.
Podner, what'd you learn?
Well, I learned two things. One wrestling larger related and one local related. The larger thing is, and this is kind of what I put in for my match for Mayhem Mania, Nikki Cross is planning on running the New York City Marathon in November of this year, and she's doing it for charity. So, first of all, good for her. You know, the full marathon, that is a major deal, especially trying to fit it into, you know, training for a full marathon is almost a full-time job if you're being serious at it. And trying to fit that in while wrestling and doing her wrestling training, that's going to be hard for her to do. So I give her full credit for trying that. The second thing that's local, and I'm sorry if I'm taking this to anyone else's, today is Bradley's birthday.
Friday, Bradley's birthday.
It's his birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday to
Bradley.
you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bradley. We're gonna put our butts on you.
Oh no.
Oh.
I gotta
And
go.
many more. Wow.
Yeah.
Eamon, you're next.
Oh my god. I was gonna say, can I extend it to what I learned in wrestling in the last 2 weeks?
Sure,
Only
you haven't
be-
been on for a while.
Sure, only because yeah, oh yeah,
You can make it 2 years at this point.
sure. Only because it extends to the Rumble. And I was talking, I think, to you, Sorg, at the time when we were watching the Rumble. Like, I realized that I am okay with the over branding that WWE is doing on, you know, banners, on you know, any possibility they can get a logo of a company that is paying them money on a wrestling program. They're going to take it. Just put it on a black background. Take the Slim Jim logo, put it on a black background. Don't do flames. Don't do like the bright orange. Like, it's gonna light up the whole arena because it is torture. Just
And this what I learned is brought to you by Slice on Broadway.
yes. And well, okay, or white background. Fine, cool, awesome,
Like a
neutral.
yellowish- Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I forgot. There was one point of order on Mayhem Mania. Eamon, grab the wheel real quick
Oh,
for me
jeez.
and hold it up for me. I forgot to mention this. The Space Jail presented by Slim Jims. Okay, you can put it back down.
I can put the Slim Jim logo in the graphic, but then put a not really under it.
I want to make sure we get that sponsorship check. We have to mention it every time. Don't let me forget.
God, if only. Then The Rock
That-
becomes part
those
of our
Slim
board
Jim,
of
the
directors.
bucks are big bucks.
We had that one
Wait,
open
can we get the-
window when they.
You think we can get The Rock on our Patreon?
Oh yeah, no problem.
We should try tweeting at him. See what happens.
Dear Dwayne, I watched all of Young Rock and know everything about your history and wrestling with your family. Please support my podcast on Patreon.
That's going into spam.
I mean, that might not get you The Rock as a Patreon follower. It may give you a Cena as a X follower, though.
It's true. God, Cena's dropping knowledge bombs. My God, good stuff lately. Oh, I can close the show. I've not a guess. Guys,
So
it's
you're
been
the
the
host.
Wrestling Mayhem show. Thank you, Eamon, for returning the show. By the way, please don't be a stranger.
I anytime, Sorg, anytime.
Gay and His Enby is on the Sorgatron Media Network. You can go to sorgatronmedia.com. Latest episodes are listed there now. Look for it on your favorite podcast provider and the Tiki Talks.
All the TikToks. We're on the TikToks. We're on the Instagrams.
Yes.
We got clips, so it's a good way to test yourself out if you like reality television. It's particularly your Housewives, your Vanderpump Rules, your Drag Race, anything in between. That's the place to check it out. Gay and His Enby.
Absolutely, it's very educational.
Very.
I had to learn what an NB is. So I think I had you guys explain it to me because I think that's when I first started hearing it a lot, right? So I'm like, what are we saying here? You know, I'm here to be educated, is what I'm saying. Dave Pottner, iPhone RP Podcast, makes an appearance on this week's Awesome Cast as well. And RoosterJuliaFair.com. What's that?
Well, Sorg, thanks so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here. You can find me ProfPod, and except for the TikTok where I'm ProfPod PGH. Thanks so much.
I'm sorry to everybody for starting the TikTok thing. Tina Keys, you're doing stuff up there. How are Seattle things?
Seattle things are fine. Defy Wrestling is hosting their 7th year anniversary this weekend, actually this Friday, where I believe we do have they have Mustafa Ali on their card. Check it out on remix.tv or get your standing room only tickets at defywrestling.com.
You gonna be there?
No, unfortunately.
Well, you're part of the Defy Nation, so you can say we, I think. So you're one of those many voices that very, very definitely be when I was there a couple times. So.
Trying to spread the word as much as I can about the Pacific.
It's worthwhile. It's worthwhile. Not that they need any help selling out that damn building, but
no.
But honestly, hey, they do really good stuff. Our friends from Enjoy Wrestling are also on Remix TV. A couple other promotions too. So go there. It's free. Remix with a W. So WrestleMix. I don't know. I don't know. Brand. I don't know what their brand is. So and everything. Did we start talking about? No, we're gonna not talk about that yet. Again, Revenge Pro up in Erie, Pennsylvania. Not streaming this weekend. Only the Thursday 880 show is going to be streaming. No Ring, No Rules 2 over at the One Up Skate Park, I think it is, in the South Side, and Revenge up at the Erie Sports Complex. I don't know if that's the official name of it. And what's happening Sunday? Oh, Sunday! Ow, jeez, I should have made a commercial for this. We are having an NFL Blitz tournament. Already announced is Mikey Montgomery, Gianni Michael Enrico, Casey War, and I'll give you scoops. Brandon St. James is going to be on that as well, and we may have some appearances from a referee or two. So, and of course, Katie and Dutters are presiding on that as well. I might play a game too.
Katie
I love NFL
and
Blitz.
Dutters?
What's that?
You said Katie
Riz
and Dutters?
Oh. Revive the Risen to Dutters. Play video games. We actually played N64 Aki wrestling games, WCW World Tour, WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy, and of course leading up to Mikey getting better at AEW Fight Forever. So that's on the stream on the YouTube. And probably the Twitch Sorgatron Media from last week as well. We will be back in studio, and we will be having the Mayhem Wave game next week. And also stay tuned. We are just a couple, if you can check the number on your podcast here, we're just a couple weeks away from 900 episodes.
Wow.
And we'll be celebrating in some fashion. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you guys next time as I point this pointer in Pittsburgh from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Mayhem out.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack.
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.